They kicked my door in at 5:47 a.m. Not like they were neighbors, but like I was some kind of wanted felon. 5 HOA board members, 2 armed guards, and that diamond-dripping President Vivian all storming in as if I'd hijacked the whole lake. That's how it started for me, Jasper. 3 months back, I inherited my grandpa's lakeside cabin, figured it'd be a fresh start, right? Instead, I got hit with a $4,800 dock fee, pay up or lose everything, no discussion. And I wasn't the only one. Dolores' sweet old gal next door skipped her heart meds to pay the fees. Sarah across the cove worked herself ragged double night shifts and still fell behind, all while Vivian flashed jewelry worth more than most folks' homes' money that turns out came straight from our pockets. They got in my face, waving clipboards, yelling, "Who controls these docks?" I just stared her down and answered that one sentence. Silence. Guns dropped. The whole scam unraveled in front of them. But let me back up. How did we even get here? See, 3 months earlier, I just inherited what folks called Crazy Ezekiel's cabin, my grandpa's old place. The whole place smelled of pipe tobacco and oil, every surface buried in maps and ancient documents dating back a century. Turns out Grandpa was a pack rat with a plan. I'm a Marine vet, lost my job when the factory closed, figured this cabin would be a place to start over. Instead, it became a battlefield. Day one, while hauling trash, I heard heels on my dock, sharp fast like a warning shot. There she was. Vivian Blackwell, HOA, President, all business, no condolences. 15 years of dock fees, $4,800. Pay by Friday or we seize your boat. I stared. Dock fees for what? She rattled off community waterfront management, $300 a month per house. Her smile could cut glass. No exceptions. Here's what HOAs don't want you to know. They can only charge for services they actually provide. And if there's no maintenance, there shouldn't be any fees. Period. I started to notice Dolores watching me always from behind her window, always worried. Over 3 months, I found out why Vivian ran Millbrook Shores like her own little kingdom. Miss a payment, and she'd slap on late fees. Question her, and suddenly you'd find yourself the target of a harassment campaign. Every HOA meeting was her show. Every decision good for her real estate side hustle. Sarah, the single mom, worked herself to exhaustion to keep up. Her kid Marcus, smart as a whip, said his mom cried over bills but couldn't afford to move. Dolores, heart condition, fixed income, barely scraping by, choosing between medicine and HOA assessments. And all the while, Vivian's luxury car collection grew. Vacations, jewelry flaunted on social media. Meanwhile, her neighbors skipped meals. At my first board meeting, I asked, "Where's all this money really going?" Vivian rattled off maintenance, insurance, admin costs. But I'd walked every inch of Shoreline Community Pier was rotting docks, splintered, not a dollar spent on repairs. 70 grand a year and nothing to show. Then Vivian escalated anonymous complaints to the county. Suddenly I needed a permit for every little thing. And every permit got rubber stamped by her real estate buddy. Then the newsletters started pictures of my truck eyesore vehicles, thinly veiled digs. Every morning, the smell of her diesel Range Rover announced another lap around the lake, searching for violations. The air itself became tainted with harassment. By month 3, I saw what Grandpa had been up to. Every document, every record, every deed cross-referenced. And I found something: water rights, original land grants. My pulse kicked up. Vivian must have sensed it because she called an emergency meeting about my supposed violations. Next morning, she shows up with guards demanding I leave. But that's where her plan fell apart. Let me tell you how the tables turned. Week after that first clash, County Inspector Rudy showed up, clipboard nervous as a stray cat. Got a complaint, need to inspect the dock. Rudy used to fish with my grandpa every Saturday. Now he's poking around looking for violations. "Rudy, when'd you get your marine structural certification?" He froze. State law requires it for waterfront inspections. He'd never gotten one. "That's a violation, Rudy, and anything you write up is invalid." Vivian's car door slammed in the background. She knew she'd been caught. Rudy packed up and left in a hurry. I dove deeper into Grandpa's files. Water rights research, handwritten notes, dam construction records from 1892, even a reversion clause in an old deed. Then Marcus showed up, Sarah's son, the computer whiz. He'd been helping me digitize Grandpa's files. He said my mom wanted me to thank you for standing up to them. Then he told me Vivian tried to pressure Sarah into selling. Classic bully playbook: intimidate, isolate, force out the vulnerable. Marcus, you up for a little detective work? His eyes lit up. Together we started piecing together the history of the lake. Foreclosures, forced sales, always after fee hikes, always bought up through shell companies, always flipped for a profit. 6 houses in a decade, families gone overnight. The trail led to Lakeshore Development, luxury resort builders working with Vivian for years. But Marcus found more email chains, consulting fees paid to Vivian for every acquisition. The picture got clearer. She wasn't just skimming, she was clearing the land for development, one family at a time. Then we hit a wall. HOA financial records from 2020 onward, archived or restricted. But Grandpa's old credentials with the Historical Society got us access. That evening, Dolores came to my door trembling. Those security men came to my house, said if I keep talking to you, they'll inspect my property for violations. She was terrified. She couldn't afford more fees, couldn't lose her home. After she left, I sat on the dock watching the sunset and thinking, this isn't about money, it's about control. But Vivian made her biggest mistake yet. She'd buried evidence, but we found it: bank records, deeds, a reversion clause stating that if the dam stopped generating power, all rights returned to the original families. The dam had stopped in 1978. The rights were ours, not the HOA's. We prepped. Witnesses, documents. Marcus built a digital presentation. Dolores came through with 15 years of records, threatening letters, even audio recordings of Vivian making ugly statements about improving demographics. Sarah cataloged every neighbor who'd suffered from these fees, families skipping medicine, delaying 911 calls for fear of new assessments. Together we built a case no lawyer could tear down. Night of the meeting, media everywhere, former residents returned for justice. Inside, you could cut the tension with a knife. Vivian, flanked by lawyers, opened the meeting. She tried to discredit me. I stood up, pulled out the original deed, and asked, who really controls these docks? Held it up for everyone to see. Proof the lake bed belonged to my family. Marcus displayed purchase agreements Grandpa made properly recorded. I told the crowd 15 years, $800,000 stolen in fees for property Vivian never owned. The room erupted. Elderly neighbors realized they'd been robbed. Families nearly lost their homes to a lie. Then Channel 7's reporters stood up, emails in hand, confronting Vivian about her partnership with Lakeshore Development. Evidence of a conspiracy. The crowd's anger boiled over. State investigators stepped forward. Fraud charges, embezzlement. As they led Vivian away in handcuffs, the whole room cheered. 3 months later, everything changed. The dock was rebuilt, every structure repaired with stolen funds recovered from Vivian's crime spree. We established a community trust, water rights donated back to the residents, managed transparently, $30 monthly for actual upkeep, not $300 extortion. Dolores could afford her meds again. Sarah finally got a break from double shifts. Vivian. She pled guilty, 5 years in prison, restitution for everyone she'd robbed. Her developer partners faced federal charges. The judge, Vivian's old golf buddy, retired after an ethics investigation. With recovered funds, we started a scholarship in Grandpa's name. Marcus was the first recipient, off to study environmental law plans to come back and protect this lake. Veterans meet on the new dock for healing water sessions, trading stories, and support. Sarah launched a program teaching elders to spot online scams. Marcus digitized Grandpa's archives, creating a public database so nobody could ever pull this scam again. Other towns took notice. Even the Attorney General used our case as a model for fighting HOA corruption. Here's what really matters. I didn't win because I was lucky or had deep pockets. I won because I did my homework. While Vivian played power games, I built an ironclad case backed by a community that refused to be bullied. The moral knowledge is power. Regular people, when they work together, can topple even the most entrenched bullies. So tell me, what's the wildest thing your HOA ever tried to pull? Drop it below. Let's make sure these stories get heard, because the only thing bullies fear more than a strong neighbor is a community that refuses to stay silent.
Cảm ơn các bạn đã xem video.